Hello, I'm Elisa Zhang, and I'm a physician as well as a life and money coach. So, this episode is just going to be an informational episode talking about CDs or certificates of deposit. These are relatively safe investments that you can use to park your money for something if you are just looking for a place maybe to put some of your emergency fund, or you have uh, the money earmarked for something that's relatively short term, like a year or 2 years away. Maybe you're saving up for a luxury vacation and you want to try to get a higher interest rate than you can in a high yield savings account. So a certificate of deposit is issued by the bank, and it is FDI insured up to $250,000. So you can know that you're not really going to lose money. There's one way to lose money with a CD, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But basically, different banks have different, standards or rules or, contracts about how they do their CDs. You can often choose from many different time terms: 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. There are a lot of options available, and there are also different amounts to deposit. So some banks allow you to get a CD of any monetary denomination you want, and some will sell them in only like $1,000, $3,000, $5,000 increments. So it just depends on what bank you go to. You do want to research around because different banks will have different rates for their CDs, and they'll have different rules for their CDs. And one of the rules will be the penalty for wanting to withdraw your money prior to the term. So that's what I was talking about when I was talking about those timelines, was talking about the term, the rate of the CD. So basically, you're promising that you're going to deposit that money for that period of the term, and in return, the bank is going to pay you a certain interest rate. So what happens if you need that money back earlier? Well, generally you can get it back, but you would have to pay a penalty. And this is the one time you could lose money with a CD, is that if that penalty ends up being more than the interest you earned for the time you had it deposited. So often the penalty is, it can be a flat rate, or it can be a certain number of days or months or years of interest. So, just for example, a 5-year CD could have a early withdrawal period, a penalty of 1 year or 2 years of interest. So if you had that CD in the with that bank for less than 1 year, then and then you take it out, then your penalty would be such that you actually do lose some of the value of your money because of that penalty fee, but you would still have most of your money. So these are relatively safe investments. Now, the one thing is that often the interest rates on CDs is lower than the interest rate of inflation, or at least I shouldn't say is usually, but at currently in 2023, as I'm recording this video, it is the highest rates of CDs I can find are in the 4 to 5% range. And the rate of inflation is right now around 6%. So you are still kind of losing the value of your money to inflation, but it is paying a little bit more than high yield savings accounts, which are paying somewhere between 3 and 4%. So if that extra percentage point is worth the locking away the money for whatever period of time, then maybe it is worthwhile for you to look into having a CD. One other thing that people do with CDs is sometimes they create what's called a CD ladder. And that's where you buy multiple CDs so that you have a CD coming to term on a regular basis so that you can access money on a regular basis. One example might be that you make a CD with, if you have $5,000, you put $1,000 into 5 different CDs. So you would put $1,000 into a CD expiring in 1 year, $1,000 into a CD expiring in 2 years, another 1,000 in a CD expiring in 3 years, another 1,000 in a CD expiring in 4 years, another CD expiring in 5 years. And then every year you have $1,000 that's coming available. Now, if you don't need that $1,000 and you want to just put it back in another CD, now you put in a 5-year CD, because that 2-year CD that you bought in the beginning will now come term in 1 year. So now every time that you decide to renew or reinvest that CD money, you would buy another 5-year CD to keep that CD stack going. So hopefully that makes sense for you. CDs can be an investment vehicle to use for money that you want to keep, a little bit, quote, safer. Like I said, it is still eroding compared to the value of inflation, at least right now, current CD rates and current inflation rates. But one of the benefits of having CD ladder is that you are kind of locking in some of the rates such that if the rates are high now compared to what they are in the future, then you have some CDs where that rate will be for a while by buying those 5-year CDs. And if the rate of CDs go up, then if the rate of the CD goes up so much higher that it's worth paying the penalty to get out of your current CD to get that new interest rate CD, you can. If it's not worth that difference, then you hold on to your current CD. But you've got a CD that's coming to term every year, so then you can use that money to buy a new CD at those higher rates. So that's just some information about CDs, certificate deposits. They're not very sexy investment vehicles, but they do have a place in some people's investment portfolios. So I hope you love all the educational material I bring on this YouTube channel. I also do have a podcast. If you don't really want to watch videos, you want to listen, and you can listen to, wherever you are. That podcast is the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast, and you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, and hopefully whatever your favorite podcast app is. If you would like to learn more about working with me, you can always go to my website, growyourwealthymindset.com. I work to empower people to be able to manage their own money and manage their own investments. And part of my mission is really to just help people be really on a solid footing when it comes to their money, because, no one cares about your money more than you do. And I want everyone to be able to enjoy money. Money doesn't necessarily buy happiness, but lack of money certainly can cause unhappiness. And we just don't learn about money during any time of our education. Now, I know that's changing in the state of Ohio, where I am a resident. They actually did pass a law that they are going to start having financial education as mandatory in, I believe, high school, before at least you can graduate high school, maybe even earlier. So we'll see what happens with that. But until then, I'm going to keep bringing more financial information to help everyone grow their wealthy mindset. Thanks so much for watching.